Okay, you know what's crazy? I feel lonely as a and this is actually really odd for me because I haven't felt this way in a while, but I think internally deep down I've been feeling this way. If that makes sense, I'm gonna explain. I recently changed up how I use social media. So I had this personal account and it had about it was just literally people that I knew. So it was a small account. I had 400 followers. I followed roughly the same amount of people. And these were people that I went to school with, people that I worked with at different jobs, people that I met in passing, met at parties, met at the girls' bathroom. Like they ranged from family to people I've known my whole life to complete strangers, and it was just this big group of people in my head that I had this false illusion of community with. And that's what social media does to a lot of us. It makes us think that we're in this whenever we post, it makes us think that we're in this world that everybody sees us this way, and it makes you really self-conscious. It makes you know that people are looking at you as a certain way, and you whenever you post, there's this group of people that you imagine in your head that from your entire past that are just watching you. And in that same sense, it makes you feel like there's some sort of community because you see their post, they see yours, and it feels like some sort of weird connection or some sort of fake community in your head. I can't even describe it in any other words. But a lot of these people is it's weird because you'll go to the grocery store and you see this person that's in your following list, or you follow them, vice versa, whatever, and you don't say hi to them and they don't say hi to you, and it's why are you even following them? I don't know, that to me started to get so weird after years passing from when I met that person and keeping the same people on Instagram that you wouldn't even say happy birthday to. I don't know, to me it does something to your brain to finally strip that away, because it makes you question and ask yourself who is your community, and even down to which of these people would show up for you if you had an emergency or if you really needed help. And to me, if I ever looked at my old following list, I could probably count on one hand the amount of people that I could actually lean on and call for help. And to me that's weird, because I'm why are we connected to people that we just don't even mess with anymore? To me, I was this is a false sense of what it means to be connected, and I don't want that for myself. And I'm not saying anybody do the same thing I did, but I'm just sharing what it feels like, because I cut a lot of people out. I just removed them. It wasn't anything dramatic, but because I did all that, towers in my brain just started falling, and it makes even now, it makes me feel really vulnerable. It makes me question okay, what do I have? And what are the people that I want around me? Because I'm just conditioned to think that my community is just people who surround me by default. And that's what it was with school. That's what it was with your jobs, and if you went to church or any sort of group, your community was just what was given to you. But when you start to get to know yourself better, and you start to evolve and you start to change, you realize that your community really needs to be fit for the type of person that you're becoming. And right now I feel okay, I've changed so much from since when I was a teenager or even a young adult. I'm 30 now, so who I was when I was 20 is so entirely different. And if I'm not actively putting myself in places and spaces that reflect who I am now, I'm gonna be so lonely inside, because even if I do have people around me, they're not gonna be on the same frequency as me, or the same we're just not gonna get each other. And that's not to say anyone's better or worse, but we're just that different. We just speak different languages at this point, right? So what I'm trying to get at is let me back up. There's this quote I wanted to talk about in this video, and it was this Carl Jung or Young, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It was his quote, and it was like, I'm not even gonna be able to say it word for word here. Maybe I'll like insert it. Alright, I had this so wrong. It's loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. The reason that you're lonely is because you're not fully expressing yourself. And I think that I want to dive into that a lot more and learn what he really means, but from my intuition in itself, I take that quote two ways. I think about it in the sense that when you are truly expressing your authentic voice and your authentic self, the fulfillment comes from the expression, and it comes from being in your fullest self, because I think the loneliness in itself comes from inauthenticity and blockages from your self-expression. And the thing is too is that, like, if you look at it in a spiritual lens, when you express yourself, when you are finally stepping into your authenticity and your voice, the right people will gravitate towards you, because what you were needing, you were putting yourself in that frequency. And I think too, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say how I had a point, I swear. I was gonna say, okay, strip away like whatever quote I was talking about. We're moving on. Loneliness, when I look at it from a personal like lens, from the way that I view life, through spirit, through energy, when you are lonely outside in your physical world, you are lonely within, because what is outside is a reflection of what's inside you, right? So if you are in a place where you don't feel fully seen, fully understood, fully connected to somebody outside of you, or like a group of people outside of you, it's because you haven't done that within. There's something inside that you haven't looked at, something inside that you haven't really like, what's the word, like really nurtured. Whatever desire, whatever passion is in your heart, if you haven't fully understood that yourself, then you're not able to fully express that outwardly. So the people outside of you, your environment, the people that you run into day to day, those people cannot meet you, because that burning desire, that burning passion within you has stayed dormant and not fully like seen itself. Because at the same time too, like if you're lonely and you're seeking out people that are like-minded and believe the same things you do and want to live life the same way that you do, how will those people ever find you if you don't express that in your own being, in your own body? You don't even have to be like a creator or anything, but like if you don't talk about and be about what you're passionate with about, grammar is kind of crazy. If you aren't passionate about, or like if you aren't expressing what you are passionate about, whose fault is it? Not to blame anybody, but like I'm just, the way I'm talking is just to prove a point, but like whose fault is it that that they're not resonating with you? Like how would you even, how can you even ever like blame your environment or your situation right now if you haven't put yourself out there to be received and to be heard? Because everything is laid dormant. Like your own expressions, your own passions haven't been expressed through your body and through your voice and through like where you surround yourself with, what the situations you put yourself in. And I think that's like the 3D way of looking at it too. Like, because all of these things just kind of like align with each other and prove each other right. Yeah, like from a spiritual lens, if you aren't fully embodying the energy that you desire to be, then your physical world will not reflect that. And that's where you feel that feeling of loneliness from within and that feeling of loneliness from without, from your outside world. It's all connected. And I feel like for me especially, I stripped away a lot of things that I knew and a lot of things that felt safe to me, but I knew they weren't. I knew they were illusions, so I couldn't lose much. If anything, I'm gaining more, but maybe it won't come right away. But I know that it's my job to voice out my authentic expression and myself if I'm gonna do that. Because I feel like I would spiral myself into loneliness and like go crazy probably, because I've isolated myself so much that if I don't do my job in part of like exploring my inner world and being able to work on blockages to be able to express myself and my voice, then I might as well have stayed in that old loop of fake community. You can't ever just isolate yourself, and sometimes you need it to be able to find the peace and quiet it takes to fully learn who you are. But at the same time, you're gonna get lonely if you keep everything bottled within and you don't ever let that energy flow out, because that is what you want. You don't ever want isolation for the end goal. What you want is the peace and the quiet it takes to fully like know where you stand, so that when you do raise your voice and when you do show your true self, it's so authentic and it's so grounded. So yeah, that's my like little rant on all this, and that is why I'm just choosing to put myself out there more, because I just want connection and I want it to be real. I don't care for anything that shrinks me or makes me want to go back to my old self. And I feel like to get to the connections that I want to, I need to fully trust and start to bloom and like start to, what do you call it, like I need to just start being my full self and being able to have the capacity to be seen, so that I can actually meet like-minded people. And this is just a start. Like, it doesn't have to be from YouTube, it doesn't have to be from online energy, it could be in person. Don't ever limit yourself to receiving through one channel, through receiving just via the internet, or just via like if you like, let's say you take like a yoga class or whatever to meet like-minded people. It's not the yoga class that is going to bring in the right people for you, the aligned people I should say. It's the energy of openness, it's the energy of courage to put yourself out there, and the universe just has its own like mysterious ways of working. So yeah, that's just my little talk for today. And I guess like my channel, I'm just gonna leave this as a place for me to vent or to talk or to teach whatever I'm feeling called to, because I started this channel like a year ago, and I've kind of like thought that I had to show up a certain way to be able to be on here, but it was really overwhelming for me to perform, and I don't want to do that anymore, and I just want to talk from the heart. And yeah, that's what you're gonna get.